Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope all of you are always healthy. We are from Group 7, and Group 7 consists of 4 members, namely Agnes Ophelia Indrayani Wibowo, Reza Ayu Pahlevi, Yuvananda Jani Prameswari, and myself, Sari Murni. Today, we will discuss material about language and the brain. For further explanation, watch the following video. As humans, of course, we talk every day. When we talk, we need language. In this material, we will talk about language and the brain. What is the correlation between them both, and what do you think about language and the brain? The ability to use language is located in the brain, but it cannot be anywhere in the brain. I mean, not all parts of the brain are the site of language skills. However, it is in a certain part, and we will talk about this part later. For example, the patient has damage in her right hemisphere. She could no longer recognize her leg, but she still can talk about her leg. In this case, she didn't lose the ability to speak because it was his right hemisphere that was damaged. Then, move to neurolinguistics. This is a study of how the brain, or neuro, permits us to have language or linguistics. Or, this is a study of the relationship between language and the brain. In this case, someone working in construction and he had an accident that caused a large metal rod to pierce the front of his brain, but he can still talk after that. Next is the language areas in the brain. Anterior speech cortex or Broca's area. This is a place for language ability, or language ability must be located in the left hemisphere. For example, a French surgeon reported that damage to this specific part of the brain was related to extreme difficulty in producing speech, and in the right hemisphere had no such effect like this. Then, posterior speech cortex or Wernicke's area. In this case, a German doctor reported that damage was found among patients who had speech comprehension difficulties. Therefore, Wernicke's area is the part of the brain about how a person understands speech, and it's on the left hemisphere. Motor cortex, close to Broca's area, that controls the articulatory muscles of the face, jaw, tongue, and larynx. Two neurosurgeons reported that applying a small amount of electrical current to the specific areas of the brain, they could identify those areas where the electrical stimulation would interfere with normal speech production. A bundle of nerve or arcuate fasciculus is one of Wernicke's discoveries and is now known to form a crucial connection between Wernicke's and Broca's area. Then, the localization view. Localization view used to suggest the brain activity involved in hearing a word, understanding, saying, and it would follow a definite pattern. It is also a simple version of may take place. However, it is consistent with much of what we understand about simple language processing in the brain. In short, the localization view is a simple description of the language processes that occur in the brain.
Aphasia. Aphasia is a language disorder caused by damage in a specific area of the brain that controls language, expression, and comprehension. Aphasia leaves a person unable to communicate effectively with others. The most common types of aphasia are 1. broadcast aphasia or non-fluent aphasia. Broadcast aphasia or expressive aphasia is when people find it very difficult to find and say the right words, although they probably know exactly what they want to say. People with broadcast aphasia may only be able to say single words or very short sentences, although it's usually possible for other people to understand what they mean. The features of broadcast aphasia are severely reduced speech, often limited to short utterances of less than 4 words, limited vocabulary, clumsy formation of sounds, difficulty writing, but the ability to read and understand speech. Second, venical aphasia or fluent aphasia. Venical aphasia or receptive aphasia is when someone is able to speak well and use long sentences, but what they say may not make sense. They may not know that what they are saying is wrong, so may get frustrated when people don't answer them. The features of venical aphasia are impaired reading and writing, an inability to grasp the meaning of spoken words or processing corrected speech is not affected, an inability to process sentences that hang together, and the intrusion of irrelevant words in several cases. Third, anemic aphasia. A person who suffers from anemic aphasia is unable to speak up with the right words for what they want to talk about. They have a grasp on grammar and speech output, but they simply cannot find the words to discuss what they want to. They also have difficulty finding words when they write. The features of anemic aphasia are an inability to supply the words for the very things the person wants to talk about, particularly the significant nouns and verbs. Then, speech that's full of vague expressions of frustration. Difficulty finding words in writing as well as in speech. Last, primary progressive aphasia or PPA. PPA is a condition where language capabilities become slowly and progressively worse, leading to a gradual loss of the ability to read, write, speak, and understand what other people are saying. There is no cure for PPA. However, a person can still communicate effectively with right tools, support, and PPA support group.
Tongue tips and slips. Tongue tips and slips are one kind of speech error which are regarded mostly as errors of articulation. Although the tips and slips are mostly treated as errors of articulation, it has been suggested that they may result from slips of the brain, as it tries to organize linguistic messages. For the example, what we want to say is, "You have wasted the whole term," but we said, "You have tasted the whole worm." For the other example is, what we want to say is, "The dear old queen," and it to be the queer old dean.
What is the critical period? Also known as the sensitive period, the critical period is a time during early postnatal life when the development and maturation of functional properties of the brain, its plasticity, is strongly dependent on experience or environmental influences. The concept of a critical period therefore plays an important role in the age-old nature versus nurture debate. To what extent are our abilities determined by intrinsic factors such as our genes or by extrinsic factors such as childhood experiences?
To be precise, there isn't a single critical period, but there are different critical periods for different brain function. The concept of a critical period therefore plays an important role in the age-old nature versus nurture debate. To what extent are our abilities determined by intrinsic factors such as our genes or by extrinsic factors such as childhood experiences? To be precise, there isn't a single critical period, but there are different critical periods for different brain function. For example, binocular vision or language acquisition. In order to develop correct binocular depth perception, the eyes must receive sensory input between 1 and 3 years of age. Similarly, a child who named Jenny, who was kept in confinement by her parents till the age of 13 and was never spoken to, never acquired language beyond 2 or 3 word utterance.
Thank you very much everyone for watching this video. We are from group 7. We apologize when we made a mistake. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.